What's going on, everybody? So here we are with the 55-inch Sony A8H as requested. So we're going to get started unboxing this. So let's just dive right into it. All right, so once we get the box off, you just have a little styrofoam here. You gotta take that off. It's covered in like this cardboard here, so that's nice. It feels a little bit protected, more protected than usual, I suppose. It's not foam or plastic or anything, so that's good. And yeah, nothing too special there. All right, so once you get the TV out of the box, it's got this nice kind of, I don't know, it's like zigzaggy kind of feeling in the back. It's kind of fun to play with, as you guys can kind of hear. I mean, again, that's only for the unboxing process where I would mess around and, play with it like that, but whatever. And then we've got a nice little Bravia logo here. We've got some plastic we're gonna have to take off. So we're just gonna give that a nice little tug. That's actually seated on there pretty well. So I'm gonna have to probably go all the way down to the base here. Yeah, they put that plastic on there pretty good. And then we just give it a nice tug. Always awkward to do these things one-handed. A lot of resistance there. All right, and so you have your nice thin strip of really high gloss plastic here. It's really nice. I mean, you've got the transition between the gunmetal and the gloss. I mean, I really love the design. I really do. I think it's a really beautiful design here. But again, I'm more of a luxury kind of guy. I like when they try on the back of TVs because, again, if you ever have it in a position in your home where you can't exactly hide the back of your TV, you don't want it to be ugly because they thought nobody would ever look at it. So that's nice there. We have some safety stuff I don't care about. And here we have our HDMI ports. You see, we have 2, 3, 4. I did that totally out of order, but whatever. You guys can see they're upside down like this. Again, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult to get to. Great for wall mounting, but not so great if you're somebody who just wants to quickly access it. And for that, your best bet's going to be HDMI port 1, because if you can see that one sticks out of the side. Try to get that to focus. There you go, right there. All right. Yeah, that one sticks out of the side, which is like a much better setup. So unfortunately, you only have one HDMI setup that will work like that. So otherwise, you're going to have to fumble a little bit to get them where they need to be. One of the other things that I really didn't like as unboxing this, though, is that it has the dreaded built-in power, and that is just the dumbest thing. You need to have a separate power brick so that way you're not screwing up things. If, God forbid, something happens, your dog chews your power cable, you trip over it because, I don't know, maybe you're really clumsy. But the idea here is you always want something that can separate. I've actually had it happen once where I've actually, doing the TV comparison, tripped over one of the cables and the power cable just detached from the power brick. I mean, that's a really specific situation, but if you've got kids running around, it might be something that, again, you might want to think about. So that's one of the negative things, a built-in power supply. If anything ever happens to this cord, you're up shit's creek without a paddle. And that's, again, not my favorite thing. So a negative right there. Now, as we look at the contents of the upper portion of the box, we have these stand pieces. They're actually pretty heavy. They've got some weight to them. I wouldn't say heavy, but they've definitely got more weight to them than I was expecting. But, nothing too terrible, I guess. We'll have to see what the final weight feels like when we have it all put together. We've got the remote, and that's really the only thing of value in here. It really is just kind of like a bunch of empty plastic, if you can kind of see that. There's just like so much empty plastic. It's a lot for no reason, but whatever. And finally, we have name brand batteries, which is like, yeah, finally, Sony gets it. And we don't have the dreaded Bexel or whatever it was. I don't really know, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the upper portion of it. Now, this next part might be a little nitpicky for some people, but I don't like the remote of the A8H. So this is the remote that comes with the A8G. As you can see, it's thick, and it is obviously slightly better because it looks more sleek in design, but it's really hollow, cheap plastic. As you guys can hear, it's really cheap feeling, where at least this feels a little bit more robust in the hands. It feels like you're holding a remote. Though it's not anything dramatically impressive, it's a very basic remote. So at least they did improve from the A8H, but again, if you are able to find it on Amazon or anything like that, you can buy one of these metal remotes and it will work on both the A8G and A8H. So I think this is an awesome remote, kick-ass. I don't know why this doesn't come with all their OLEDs, considering it's a premium product. And the Sony X950 line used to get this remote, and they stopped doing that. So at the very least, you'd expect their OLED line, since it's more money, you know, to get the better remote, but that just doesn't happen. So yeah, look at this. This is what it is. And yeah, it's pretty trash, but at the same time, it still is an improvement. So I guess we can give them that. They at least did a little bit more than what they did last year, but not by much. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about the A8H is that there are no screws. So literally all you do is you take the little stand that you see right about here, one in my hand right here. You just take the little stand and you find where it goes. You match it up, right, with this underneath here. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but you just match it up. And what we're gonna do is just give it a little push. Very awkward to do one-handed. And then that's it. And it's locked in place. And if you wanted to remove it, all you do is give it a hard tug out as well. And that's pretty much it for that one. Now we're gonna do the other one. And again, same thing, just line it up, you know, with the little arrow here. They don't have numbers, so you're just gonna have to look and eyeball it, and maybe just a little slight trial and error if you get it wrong the first time around, but they only go in one way. And then once you have them, you push them into place, and that's it. Very simple, very easy setup process. That's what I'm talking about. All right, now we're gonna turn it on for the first time. And it also turns on my A8G. So annoying though, not gonna lie. All right, whatever, they're both on. All right, got the A8G off now. All right, so now it's just the A8H. All right, I'm gonna lower the brightness so you can see what's going on here. All right, we're gonna do English. We're going to skip the Android setup. Now, sadly, Google still forces their terms of service, so that's something you're going to have to weigh up if you want this TV. If you're not willing to submit to Google before even being allowed to use your TV, it's still here because no other reviewer, none of them, will mention that this is a problem. Because honestly speaking, if you're paying $1,600, $1,800, $2,000, I don't care what it is, you know, and you can't use it, there's no like skip for now option. There's no option to delay it. It's either comply or die, and that's pretty authoritarian of Google in a typical fashion, and I don't like it at all. So again, if you're not okay with that, that alone probably is going to make a lot of people not like it, and that's why a lot of people tend to prefer LG with their WebOS, because it doesn't do it like this. And this is just like one of the more tacky ways of having a TV. Like, why can't you just plug it in and use it offline? And if you choose to use the online features, then yeah, fine. Maybe you submit to Google's terms of service or whatever policies they have. But again, that's one of my biggest gripes, man. I really hate that they do that. But either way, it is what it is, and that's pretty much that. Now, we're just going through more introductory stuff here. And now we are in. Dive into the water. Looks pretty slick. Very sharp, the Bravia letters. Kind of excited to see this now. All right. Start your experience. Let's do it. US. Didn't I already literally do all of this? Oh my goodness. There's more to agree to. More Sony policies. Agree to all. I don't have to do that, so I'm just going to proceed. You see, that's how the Google terms of service should work. Just proceed. All right, so then we've got the satellite box and all that other stuff, cable, antenna. If you have that stuff, I don't. I'm just going to skip it. Then we've got HDMI 3, which I have my PS4 hooked up to this right now, so that's what we're going to be doing next. Now they want me to select the device that I have. I'm just going to put player. I usually put every device as a Blu-ray player because I found sometimes when you do games, it kind of defaults to putting you into game mode, and I don't want that. And sometimes even when you're on PC, it just jumps and throws you right into the PC mode if it didn't already be selected as, again, Blu-ray player or something that's not gaming related. So that's just my thing there. But again, this is up to you. You guys set it however you want. So I'm just going to do it this way. Then they ask you if the image is being set up correctly. Is it displayed properly? Which we will say yes. That is definitely what my PS4 looks like. And they say setup complete. Basically, you're all done. Enjoy your device. But they lied, because once you get past that menu, now they're asking you more stuff. And they're asking you how your TV is positioned. So you're not ready to set up the device. I have it tabletopped. They want you to do an acoustic calibration. We skip that step. And then they say setup complete. Is it really complete? Yes, because we're now at the end of the road here. So there are kind of like 2 setup completes, which kind of makes no sense. Just have one at the end, Sony. Like, this is a little dumb. All right, now we're on my PlayStation 4, and I'm just gonna boot up that video sequence that I usually show you guys of Ghost of Tsushima, and already it's literally looking 100 times better than what the LG OLEDs were looking like, and that's impressive. I mean, I don't expect anything less because the A8G is pretty damn stellar, and this is looking more of the same, and I haven't even touched it yet. Colors are falling in line almost properly. I mean, really, it's looking nice. Nice, but not great. It obviously is too dim. I don't like the level of dimness that it is, so I'm using my phone here to just kind of do this. You know, anytime I do these unboxing videos, I just use my cell phone, run and gun. But don't worry, the main serious videos will have my mirrorless Sony camera, and we'll go full frame on you and do all that nice stuff. But for all intents and purposes, this is just to give you an idea of what it looks like right now out of the gate. Now, I did notice some banding, so I'm imagining they don't have all the features selected. As far as, again, making sure they have smooth gradation on, but something we should look at. One of the things I hate is I hate this menu layout. I mean, I guess they think it's simplistic. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the tile layout. I feel like once I hit settings, it should just give me an option to go straight to the picture options, not have to open up a settings menu and do all of this extra stuff, as you guys can clearly see. But there's a little thing that I learned that is really annoying. Like when I first started dealing with this back in like, what would they roll this out in like 2018 maybe? 2019? I'm not 100% sure. No, this was definitely rolled out in 2019, so last year. It's already feeling dated, you know what I mean? All right, but basically the big trick with this, I'm gonna lower it down again so you can kind of see what's happening here. I have to go into edit, and then you see how picture settings is grayed out? It's the dumbest flippin' thing I've ever seen. I mean, that should automatically be selected by default as one of the things you'd wanna access. And then in this menu, you have things like auto picture mode you can select. You have the light sensor for ambient light conditions you can select. Wide mode if you want to change the aspect ratio. Your sound settings, which for whatever reason isn't selected. What kind of speakers you're using. Home theater setup. Your Wi-Fi stuff. Your Bluetooth stuff. I mean, literally a bunch of stuff that you could select and choose to enable. So the fact that it's not there by default, again, makes Sony a little stupid on that front, because seriously, Sony, you really couldn't make sure at the very least picture settings was enabled. Like, that is very basic. But then we dive into the picture settings, and by default, as I was kind of saying that it would do, it snapped us into game mode, which I'm not a huge fan of personally. I like to always start off in cinema mode. That's my jam. And I do not use the light sensor. We always turn that trash off. Under the brightness tab, everything is pretty much set to default, obviously, because we just took it out of the box. But I want to try to see what high on peak luminance does, and then if it's under the clarity tab, yes it is, we have the smooth gradation, because I never know if they take out these features. I'm always afraid that they're going to do it with newer updates, and I don't know what firmware this is running on right now. So again, hopefully, you know, nothing negative happens as the result of firmware, but I have more than learned my lesson with firmware. So far, I don't need any noise reduction. It looks pretty smooth out the gate. The immediate and first thing I do, this is going to just make so many people cringe, and I'm not sorry. I make sure I go to motion flow and I crank it all the way up. The exact opposite of what all these so-called AV professionals do. Screw that judder bullshit. That happens when you don't turn this up. And I'm gonna probably use some of this because I know it has X motion clarity, so I can use clearness 1 at the very least. So, you know, that might be useful. We'll play around with that and see how that works out. I mean, it does add a ton of clarity. Now it's like just hitting way different. One of the things immediately that I am noticing, though, is that, again, in typical fashion, you have been downgraded from the Sony A8G. You do not have the freaking damn ability to change your Cinemotion options. And I'm the only one calling this out because apparently I'm the only one that cares about user control. But again, I'm the only one optimizing these TVs and actually using these features. So it's really annoying when I have the vast majority of AV guys out there just kind of being silent about all this stuff. But you'll hear it from me first. So that's one of the downgrades I spot immediately. And again, I've already seen this earlier on in the year when I've done a calibration on it, but I'm voicing it again so you guys can understand what's not being included and what's missing here. Now, again, one of the most immediate things I do, as you notice, we're in the auto color space, which admittedly isn't doing that bad, especially considering the TV hasn't been calibrated at all, but what I love to do is just immediately go into color space and change that to BT 2020, something LG can't do out of the gate, which I think is really tragic because as you can clearly see, it gives the color a nice pump. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run this back to the very, very beginning if I can. I'm just gonna have to go out and then go back in. And you guys are gonna be able to see, like, the color looks even better. Like, I don't even know if I have to do anything. And this is exactly like it felt on my Sony A8H. Where like literally out of the box, very, very minimal effort needed to get a picture that makes you go, yep, I like this. This is it. This is a beautiful display. I mean, my God, it's gorgeous. Absolutely brilliant. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. So again, we're going to dive into it. We're going to obviously test it, but already I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's doing real good so far. I mean, I saw it earlier on in the year, as I said, so it's not exactly a first impression of sorts, but this is the first time with me seeing it with my content, and I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm curious to see how it stacks up against the Sony A8H, because, I mean, is it actually an improvement? Is this the placebo effect? Like, what's the deal? So I want to get down to the nitty-gritty of all that. So all that's coming up in future videos. And no, we were not black crushing. My camera was just darkening because I'm just running my mouth and looking at the screen and not the phone here. But yeah, no, it looks really, really solid. So again, I want to thank you guys for watching, and we're going to have more videos. Leave your questions, leave what you're trying to see, your comments, what you want out of this demonstration, out of this review series. And until the next video, again, thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty. I'll see you guys later.